there was just, and even if I only give this 10%, I'm not trying to make a big deal out of this. But watching the Warriors sort of walk around, strut around, Klay's holding up 4, you love that for all the reasons I just stated. There was one small percentage of me that was like, okay, what are you trying to say and what are you trying to achieve? As you sit here, you're struggling. Your physical state is not where you want it to be. He's been very, very open about that. So if you as a group are not where you want to be in this season, which is what matters to us right now, and the effort to try to go get a 5th ring, how long going into the season do you just point at everybody who's playing better against you than you want them to and say, yeah, but we got 4? Like, that's fine now. I guess my point is I don't want to hear that after this first of the year. After the first of the year,
January 1,
if teams are still scoring 70 points on you in the first half, I don't want to hear, yeah, but we got 4. I don't like.
Well, I already don't want to hear it.
Okay,
honestly, because you've got 4, great, and if you want to rest on 4, then let's not even play this season. Let's just go into retirement and not even worry about going for number 5, because you as a professional athlete are playing not for the money, although the money I'm sure has got to be extraordinary. Shout out Klay and his boat and Tiburon and the rest of it. But you as an athlete are playing to win a championship. And we as fans are fans of your team because we want to win a championship. Mark, I want to be back on Market Street getting absolutely devoured by confetti as I'm broadcasting with you on Market and Spear. That was incredible. The parades are among the best days of my sports broadcasting life. That's why we as fans want to be fans of a team. 2010, 12, and 14, even years. The Niners, quest for 6. The Warriors looking for number 5 in this regime. That's why we're all fans of the team. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way, and it's Klay Thompson, so he gets more than just a pass. He gets a million passes. He gets a lifetime pass. But in that moment, when you're pointing at your finger, we got 4, you're right. But what about going for 5?
Well, that's kind of how Devin Booker sounded afterwards, sheepishly. He's like, well, first off, and we'll let you hear it right now. I mean, he loves Klay Thompson. He looks up to Klay Thompson. And actually now Kyle, where the Booker stuff is off the board. We need the Booker stuff back on the board. So we'll get the Booker for you. But he was very, very respectful. And then even after the on-the-court stuff where he's like, I want to be Klay Thompson when I grow up. I'm going to be Klay Thompson for Halloween.
Right.
Then he got to the podium, and he was like, they asked him, what is Klay saying to you? And he just kept going, we got 4. They got 4. They got 4. And he's like, and they do. So the thought is, and, which again, that's not to dismiss the 4. How can you? This is the greatest thing ever. You're the greatest thing in sports. We've said it over and over. You're the Warriors. You're the greatest thing in sports. But how many different teams do you, because it felt very much the vibe that they were using on Memphis. And when they were doing it with Memphis, it felt tactical. Tactical, because Memphis is young and brash, and the Warriors clearly wanted to tell them, it's so adorable that y'all think that you've arrived and you're trying to use our slogans and strengthen numbers and Jaren Jackson. And no, you're not there yet. We see you. You're not there yet. This is different. This is a team run by Chris Paul. And so are you just going to go to every team? Because you could do this to everybody. Nobody's got 4.
Well, LeBron's got 4.
Great. The Lakers are not involved in this conversation, so nobody cares.
But you're right. I mean, you can go up to, Kawhi? Kawhi, you only have 2. We got 4. You got 2. I mean, you got 2 with 2 different teams, but we got 4. I mean, virtually no other player in the league outside of Patrick McCaw, if he's even still in the league.
Right.
Because he's got 4, I believe, or he's got 3 at least. But to your point, if this is in May, I feel differently about it. Like if you're going up against Phoenix in the Western Conference Finals, that feels a little bit more appropriate. It's October. This game is mostly meaningless. Now, it was a big game because Phoenix is a good team. They're the defending regular season champs against the defending real champs. Mm-hmm. And it was a TNT game, nationally televised, the whole deal. Booker and Klay have gone back and forth for years, by the way. This was not a one-off. So There's a lot of that heat that was there anyway, but I don't need you to point to your finger in October.
Well, I guess that's kind of why I ended up liking it, even though the Warriors lost by 29. And by the way, love for you to weigh in on it. How did the Klay Thompson out-of-body experience, if you will, because who's ever seen him do that before? First ejection ever. How did this hit you? How did it land with you? 888-957-9570, that's the number. You can use the Xfinity mobile text line. Also, those of you watching on YouTube and Twitch, good morning, thank you. And the chats on those spots, always a whole lot of fun. You can get your thoughts in there as well. But the reason I felt so good about a 29-point loss is you're right. This was an October basketball game. The result didn't matter so much. There was one thing the Warriors needed to achieve last night, and I think they did, which was plant a mental seed with the Phoenix Suns. In other words, the Suns now very well know you could go win 60 games again, and it's not going to matter again. In fact, it's almost being planted as a negative seed. If the Phoenix Suns win 60, it's only going to put the spotlight them even more. It's going to create more pressure because it's like, oh, here we go again. The Phoenix Suns have won the April championship, and everyone's expecting you to go finish it off in June, and you won't. It's like Clayton Kershaw taking the mound in the playoffs.
Clayton Kershaw.
Right? It's like, oh, here we go. This is going to go bad. So I think that's all the Warriors were trying to achieve last night. I just wonder. I wonder now. Like, my eyes are on this because there are a lot of good Western Conference teams. Is this what we're going to do now? Dallas, Denver, Memphis, Phoenix, New Orleans. Here come those young Bucks. Are we just going to bounce around to every arena going, four? We got four. We got four. At a certain point, it's like, right, now win five.
Right.
Right?
I think that it was a special circumstance with, Booker and Klay Thompson and the rivalry they have and the trash talk that they have. And Klay Thompson is not one to normally be braggadocious at all. So I don't think that Klay is going to go arena to arena putting four fingers in the air. And Draymond Green, for all his trash talk, he normally doesn't go to how many rings he has. He goes more to his bully card of, I'm the baddest man on the floor. Steph Curry doesn't really brag big picture. He's a small picture bragger. When he hits a shot, it's a three, it's an and one, and he'll give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, or he'll give you the shimmy shake, right, or the no look three. Steph's bragging and his showboating is in the moment. He doesn't look at what he's done. He looks at what he's doing. And that's what makes the Klay Thompson thing so fascinating, is that Klay doesn't normally do this.
Well, and the other side I dig, I guess, is if you're worried about complacency, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue with this team. What you saw last year in the parade is that they're listening to every single other player in the NBA.
Steph's the petty king.
He's the petty king, except for Klay is the one. The Jaren Jackson thing, go back to last year against Memphis after the whole championship. Klay waited. They had eliminated Memphis already, but he waited. He waited until there was another ring on the finger to be like, by the way, Memphis, y'all are little kids still. Klay is the one who clearly gets angered. I mean, angered by this idea that other players around the league might have something to say to the Golden State Warriors. And as immature as that may feel sometimes, or if it feels like living in the past, which we're exploring right now, the net effect is that it's a good thing. Because the Warriors, when you're the best repeatedly, it's like the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods and the Tom Bradys of the world. You're like, why do you keep motivating yourself? What is it that motivates you once you are clearly already labeled the best? You're the best. I don't need another Brady Super Bowl. You're already the GOAT. Michael Jordan, you don't need 3 more rings, but you're going to go get him anyway. What motivates you? Sometimes you have to make it up in your head. Jordan famously did it. He would just make stuff up in his head. Right? This dude over here who's like the seventh guy on the bench. He disrespected me back at North Carolina. Whatever. You have to make it up. And I think the Warriors are getting to that phase of their lives where it's like you got to make up the disrespect to stay really kind of fiery and interested. And here we are, game 4, already seeing it.
It's contrived adversity is the expression that I think Paul Tagliabue used before Roger Goodell in the NFL, where you want to have that adversity, contrived adversity. And if you're the Warriors right now, you're right, Mark. It's game 4 of 82. You know there's nothing to prove for the Golden State Warriors. Even if you are really driven for number 5, you can't do a damn thing about it until April. Now, you have to be in a position to be there in April, but right now, October basketball, it's completely meaningless. But you got a Phoenix team, you've got a Devin Booker who talks, CP3, a flopper, a talker. You got Phoenix with the best record in basketball last year in the regular season, and all the rest of it. So the Warriors know that Phoenix is coming for them. And by the way, everyone is coming for the Warriors this year, and they know that. But when you have Devin Booker, a guy who talks, and Klay Thompson and he go back and forth, it's going to get ratcheted up in October.
Speaking of Booker, we now have the 2 things that he said. Here's on the court after the game.
Man, I love Klay Thompson, and I have from the beginning. From the draft coming out, I said I wanted to be Klay Thompson. That doesn't excuse us from competing against each other and talking a little mess with each other. So I have fun with it. Big fan of his and his competitive nature, and that's that.
Number respect for you, boy.
All right, and then here's the other part. Now that's on the court. Now we get back to the locker room. Here's more Booker.
They have 4 rings. They repeat it over and over, and they do.
And they do. And they do.
And they do.
I wonder this, though. I do wonder this. We spent a lot of time trying to guess what Jordan Poole did to tick off Draymond Green, right? And a lot of us got to the spot of, well, there's a money thing, and there's an old guard, new guard thing. And when it comes to trash talk, if you were going to trash talk the big 3 of the Golden State Warrior dynasty, what would you say? I bet these guys on the court are being called, oh, yeah, that's great. You got 4 rings, graybeard, right? How's your ACL? How's your Achilles? You look like maybe you're working your way back a little bit. You look like about 60% of your old self there, Klay.
The word is washed.
Right.
Klay, you look washed.
This is what's being said to them. It's what's going to be said to them constantly. And we're starting to build a little bit of evidence that maybe it triggers them. This is a leap because I have no idea what's being said, but I do know this. It would be obvious to me that 20-something-year-old players in the NBA are going to start feeding Klay and Dre with, you're done. You're washed.
It's over.
You're not what you used to be. That's great that you won a ring last year, but look at you. Look at your stats. Jordan Poole's getting paid. Not you, Klay.
It's trash.
Not you, Draymond. I saw that Wiggins extension. How'd that go with you and your agent? That's the and if it triggers them to this level, punching a teammate and getting kicked out of games for the first time in your life.
792 career games.
It feels like you're above it. You're right. You have the 4 rings. Laugh at them. Just laugh at them. They're grabbing at straws here. They got nothing.
But it's like the text line, 888-957-9570. If you look at the text line and people come with their texts and they come down our road, they're trying to get our goat a lot of times, Mark. They're trying to get to us. And you don't have, in that moment, you don't step back and think, dude, I'm Mark Willard. I'm on multiple platforms. I teach at 2 universities. I've been in this business for damn near 25 years. Who are you to talk like I got 4 rings, right? I got 4 jobs. 4.
I wish I only had 4 jobs. Keep
Seriously.
going.
But in the moment, it's hard to have that great perspective. So Klay Thompson is going up against Devin Booker, and let's call it as it is. Booker's giving it to him.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson was not good last night. He was 1 for 8 from the floor. He had a bad night. He's off to a bad start. He's not in the rhythm. He's on a minutes restriction. He'll be 33 years old in February. He's had 2 career-threatening, career-ending injuries. Klay is not the player that he once was. Can he get back to that? Absolutely. But right now, on this Tuesday in October, he's not that guy.
Right.
In comes Devin Booker, bouncy, with a Kardashian girlfriend, 25, peak of his powers, and he is giving it to him in a big way. So much like the texters, and go ahead and text us 888-957-9570 on the Xfinity mobile text line. We'd love to hear from you. But, these whippersnappers, they don't know what we've been through, Mark. But they're giving it to them.
Right, but you know what? I mean, and you talk about the classes that I teach. This is literally something that I've sat with young professionals and talked about.
Whoop.
You have to work your way toward a thick skin. I mean, absolutely. In my 20s, I'd get knocked off shows all the time because someone emailed. There was no Twitter.
Fax.
Someone emailed the show.
Fax, great.
Email Tony Bruno at TonyBruno.com. And someone would email and be like, Tony, we love you, but your co-host is a piece of junk. Who is this idiot? He's a piece of junk. And that would stick with me. 5 hours later, I'm like, damn it. Am I
a piece of garbage?
Am I a piece of garbage? Right? And then you build the skin. You build that thick skin.
That shark skin.
You can't get to us now.
Can't touch this.
You cannot get to us. I love what you say on the text line, YouTube, Twitter. I love it. I'm here for it.
I love it.
And I'll respond sometimes, but you're not going to get me ejected. You're not going to get me ejected. And so that's what I wonder now, because maybe these are completely unrelated. But I bet the trash talk toward Draymond and Klay is pretty similar and pretty easy. It's pretty obvious. Wow, you ain't what you used to be. And we've got some potential evidence. Again, I don't know the background of Draymond and Jordan, but we've got potentially some evidence that those digs are starting to get to him. But you do have 4 rings, so they shouldn't get to you.
Need a loan, Draymond? You need me to spot you some dough, Draymond? Hey, Draymond, are you playing? Are you playing Mega Millions? It's $700 million, because if you don't win the jackpot, I got you. I got you, teammate. I can spot you a little bit if you're short.
I love the young people.
You know what I mean?
$27 million next year? Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Can you get something to the Bay Area for 27? Let me know if you need some help, big fella.
Seriously, I got an extra room in my mansion that I'm about to buy.
I know.
I can put you and the family up.
I don't know, because 35 is greater than 27
Man.
last time I did my math.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I got a bag at Draymond. You need to borrow a little bit? I could spot you. And that's where last night it's easy to see Booker like, man, Klay, you used to be my favorite player. Am I your favorite now? Because, man, Klay, do you need some burn cream? Because I'm giving you that second-degree S right now.
I hope I can grow up to go 0 for 5 from three-point range in first quarter.
Boy.
So that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And if you take that, if you're Klay and Dre, just, again, my 2 cents from over here, if you take that as, like, disrespectful, you don't talk to me that way, young man, you're feeding into it. You're feeding into it. Quite frankly, you sound like an old person. You need to respect me and where I've been. No, man, he needs to score the basketball. That's his only job.
Right.
So,
and all 4 of those rings are in a safe deposit box in an undisclosed location. And right now, this season is underway, and the Warriors are 2-2. And until we get to the playoffs, whatever Phoenix says, whatever the Warriors say, none of that matters until you get to the offs.
Okay.